Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. My name is Elizabeth, and today I'm going to talk about 8 things that I do not spend money on so that I can build wealth for myself and my family. And so I hope this video is helpful. I do want to do a disclaimer that what I don't spend money on might be something that you want to spend money on, and that is totally okay. And I encourage you to do your own list after that and to see, what do you want to actually spend money on? And then where are you willing to sacrifice and say, you know what, I don't want to spend money on that, but I do want to spend money on that and then invest in my future. So let me know in the comments below what your list is. I hope this video is helpful to you. All right, so the first thing is makeup. And so millennials actually spend over $2,700 a year on makeup. That is the average. And I'll put a list or a chart here of the average spendings. And this is interesting. And so there's actually something as well called the pink tax, where certain feminine products or things are actually taxed more, which is so sad and not cool. But if you want to wear makeup, that's totally fine. I've gone through phases in my life where I wear lots of makeup or where I don't. I just feel good and feel better about not wearing a ton of makeup right now, and that's just what I'm doing. And so it saved me a lot of money, because when I was thinking about what don't I spend money on, I was like, you know what? I don't really buy a lot of like makeup products. I think I might have a mascara. I haven't used it in a long time. I used to use a lot of the foundation, especially when I was younger and had a lot of acne and things. The one thing I will also say besides makeup is personal care products. And so if you've ever seen certain people, or they have just a huge amount of just lotions and skincare and stuff. And honestly, I am getting into skincare, and I'm going to be getting like 1 or 2 products that for my face. And I think I'm about to be 30, and so want to protect my skin. I never really took the best care, and I do have light, fair skin. And so that is definitely something I want to do, but I don't want to get a ton of those products, right? And so I just wanted to share that with you, and I wanted to share that people spend a lot of money on that. And there's a lot of marketing that goes to women. And trust me, like, I get my hair dyed and things of that nature. And so that, that costs a lot of money as well. But that's what I'd rather have. Like, I'd rather have my hair done, and then I feel good about not having a bunch of makeup and other stuff. And so it's something to look into and to figure out what you want to spend money on. If you want to wear makeup, go for it. Like, gosh, there's so many gorgeous people, and it's also really fun. And some people know how to do makeup so well. I just never really found it to be helpful to me. Maybe a little mascara or something, or like I said, like cover up could be fun. And I did go through a phase where wearing some other things or eyeliner. And so if you want to do it, that's great. And honestly, a couple items won't add up, but I just wanted to share that with you. Number 2, this can go for girls or for guys, is designer items. And so this is a big one that I don't even think about, but so many people are caught in this race and this desire for designer. And it's so interesting to me. Like, even I saw someone really successful had this shirt on the other day, and I think it was Layla Hormozy, and she has plenty of money, so she can buy whatever the heck she wants. And there's no judgment with any of this stuff, or at least it's not intended that way. But she had this like really cool shirt on. And honestly, I've seen a similar shirt, and it was probably way less expensive, but it had Coach on it or something like that. And so it was probably a more expensive shirt. Now, Layla is going to be a billionaire soon. Like, she has plenty of money to do so. But a lot of other people, it's like, do you really need like a $500 purse or $1,000 purse? There is the value. Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, talks about this, where his mom taught him that it does matter about quality. So like, I do have Under Armour stuff or certain Nike things. And so you could say that's designer, but I'm talking more like Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all of that stuff. It's like, if you like fashion, cool. Or if you want to do that and you have the money to, cool. But honestly, for me, like, dressing more simply, and I do like fashion. And so finding some things, you can still like fashion, but find more affordable options, or even there's stores like Nordstrom's Rack or different places where you can get a nice item for less. And it doesn't matter, right? Like, you want to present yourself well, or present yourself in a certain way if you want to. I know my mom was always really into that. But it doesn't mean you have to just go buy all this Gucci and Prada to feel good about yourself or to project something towards others. Number 3 is things that keep up with the latest trends. And so like buying the new iPhone, or buying something that is a trend, right? Like, I know when I was little and there were Mighty Beans or Polly Pockets or things. And so my parents were very supportive of some of this stuff, but I was in the trend of like these silly bands. And so we'd buy them. And I know they're probably, these small minor fees, but, and very low cost, but it's just interesting. Like, do you really need something? Is it a trend? And is it a trend you actually want to partake in? If it is, cool. Like with any of the stuff, if you actually like it, like even with the clothes and the makeup and stuff, like I'm not saying don't buy clothes or don't buy makeup or don't try to make yourself feel better, right? And so that is typically one area where people spend a lot of money. There's education, there's entertainment, but one of the big ones is to feel better about yourself. And so there can be a lot of things to make you feel better about yourself, but typically one of them is like clothes and makeup and personal care. And that's important. Like it's nice to take care of yourself, but you don't have to feel pressured to do so. Number 4 is a ton of clothes. And so I did go through a phase where I did not buy a lot of clothes. I had a phase before that where I went to a lot of thrift stores and I got all sorts of really fun clothes. And then I also had some staples that I had invested in before that and prior. But then I decided, you know what? I don't want to buy a ton of clothes. And so I really liked Matt Diavella's. He's a minimalist. It's interesting because I really have always been really into fashion. I love different styles and things like that. But it was really cool how it really reduced my decision fatigue. And a lot of successful CEOs talk about this. I did talk about how Mark Zuckerberg does this with Facebook, and he just wears the same t-shirt every day. And so it's not the same t-shirt, but he buys like 10 of them. And so he wears the same one. What's cool about that, it's easy. You know, you like it. It looks good. It fits good. And you make so many decisions, like thousands and thousands of decisions every day. The last thing you want to do is do that. Now, some women or men, like you want to spend that extra time and it's worth it to you. But just during this phase of life, I wanted to spend more time on exercise, on being with my son, on working on my projects. And it's not to say that you can't do that too. Like you could still take 30 minutes, an hour to take care of yourself or to do those things. That is okay. And for some people, that is what they need to do. But for me, and in this phase of life, like buying a bunch of extra clothes, it really, really saves some money. And I can put on the screen how much the average American or the average person typically spends on clothes each year. Don't be afraid to go to thrift stores. Don't be afraid to get hand-me-downs. Don't be afraid to just go on a spending freeze and go, you know what? I bought a lot of stuff lately. It could be clothes. It could be something else, but I'm just going to put a freeze on it and stop spending money for a week, for 2 weeks, or for 2 months. I'm not going to buy any clothes. And then you go right back into it and see how you feel. So kind of cool, kind of interesting experiment for you. This might not be forever, like I said, with some of this stuff, because I really do like fashion, but it's temporary and it works. Number 5, I don't buy whatever I want whenever I want it. And so this is key. And as a child, like if you go around and you're in the store and you're like, I want this, or ooh, that looks cool. And it's like, no, sorry, honey, or sorry, sweetie, we can't get that today. Or you might throw a tantrum, or you're like, why can't I have that? You don't understand that it costs money, or you already have a bunch of stuff, etc. Or it's just not the time, or whatever. But if you buy every single thing that you want and you're trying to save money or you're trying to invest, then you're probably going to have a lot more than you actually need. You're also going to be sacrificing some of the goals. And so for me, like I want to be able to have more time and independence and freedom to be with my kids, to be able to be active, to be able to work on the products I want to have my own business, things like that. I want to do that and have more time. And so if I want that and I don't want to work forever, I don't want to be stuck in a certain job or a certain position forever, or I just want to have the choice, then I need to make certain decisions. And so I decided that I'm going to live below my means and I'm not going to spend money on whatever I want, and I'm going to invest the extra money here. And it's also kind of cool. It's taught me a lot. Like I've been very fortunate in my life, and my parents like provided a lot for me. They worked so hard, and I'd love to do a video on them, or like would love to interview them one day. Like just incredible people and loving, hardworking, supportive. And it's nice. And it was nice to kind of go, you know, like I'm going to sacrifice a little bit, and I'm not just going to buy whatever I want. And even if I could, what's interesting is I could. What's funny too, like with clothes or something, sometimes I will actually change my mind and be like, I'm really glad I didn't buy that. Or I put it in the cart. I have a video on this on how I save money, and I put it in the cart and then I wait a couple of days or a week. And then sometimes I like still want it, or after weeks, I'm like, you know what, I want it. And so I buy it. But then sometimes I'm like, you know what, it was fun shopping for it, but I wouldn't like, I'm done with it, you know? And so it's nice not actually spending the money and throwing that money away. Number 6, this might be a little controversial, but things that require a lot of money, time, and attention to care for, like actual objects, even pets. And so I'm not saying don't get a pet, like I'm saying, this is all personal for me at this time, but the time and the energy that you spend on items that you have, like the more items you have, the more focus and attention you have to put on them, unless you have people managing your house or helping out. But otherwise, for me, is like when there's so much stuff in, typically what I learned from minimalism is that we are bringing more in than we're getting out. Like even if you clean out, and then what happens a lot of times, like a week later, you're bringing more in, and then you have to keep doing the same cycle and the same routine. It's like, oh my gosh. And so I just learned that I wanted to not have to spend all this extra time spending money on things or buying something that's going to cost me so much extra money or maintenance or things of that nature. And so I was just really mindful of that. And I'm really mindful of my time and my focus right now because I have other goals that I care more about. So I really just pull from anywhere I can and get really, really specific and strategic about it. Number 7, a lot of takeout. So I actually eat at home a ton. And pretty much most of the time I do like Chipotle, so we'll eat out there every once in a while. But otherwise I eat at home. And honestly, it tastes better. I like it. I also keep meals simple. I think Nate O'Brien talked about this one time. And I was like, wait, I do that. I didn't realize that. He's like, how can you meal plan, but then also like say have oatmeal every day? I'm like, my son has oatmeal every single day, so it's the same breakfast. It's not like a huge variety. And he does get variety in his meals, but just, you know, he likes his oatmeal. It's healthy, likes fruit on it, and maybe some like healthy fats, whatever, and it works, right? And so he talked about like getting a sandwich bread and just making sandwiches for lunch, which is something we do as too. And so like stick with your staples. I realized like I like my smoothies, I like certain meals, and so I buy those ingredients and stick with it instead of like coming up with all these different ingredients, and in turn that's going to be more money. And lastly, number 8 is entertainment. And so like I said, I'm not saying, this is just me, that you can't go spend money on entertainment. We're very lucky, like if we have people who want to give us gifts, like we'll ask for like movie tickets or something of that nature, or for an experience. Someone gave us a gift card to like a children's museum, which was really fun. So we could go do that, or going bowling or ice skating or things like that. But I like to learn. I like to read, and most of those things are free. I might spend a little bit of money on books, and that's something I want to invest in more this year and that I am currently doing. I like making these YouTube videos. I like to spend time with my family. It doesn't matter what we're doing, but I just like spending time with my family. I like to work out, which is a very minimal amount. You can work out at home, but the cost is very, very minimal. We work out at Planet Fitness, and so it's not a big deal. And so it's very interesting because you could spend a ton of money on entertainment. And I do think that experiences are a great thing to invest in depending on the person. And so we certainly do that. But with entertainment, it's not like we're constantly just purchasing all these things or we have all these subscriptions. And so definitely consider one of those things. All right, so those are 8 things that I currently don't spend a ton of money on. What are 8 things or a couple things that you don't spend a ton of money on? What do you value? What do you prioritize? I could do a video on what I do spend money on, or how you can find what you value, how you find what you care about, how you can figure out what to cut back on and what to pour more money in, because we definitely have certain areas and buckets that we pour a lot of money into and that's the goal, right? That's the goal. It's Remy Sethi talks about this, and I Will Teach You to Be Rich, that it's what your rich life is. And so maybe your rich life is everything that I said I don't do. And that's okay. That's a good thing, but it's what works for you. It's not what's going to make me happy, and it's not what's going to make me feel good. So that's part of the key, is to figure out what's going to make you feel good. What do you care about? What do you want to invest in? What do you want to do with your life and your time and your money? And then you can spend it accordingly. So thanks so much for being here. Feel free to like and subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys. You got this.